What's up, guys? It's Rob here, and we have to talk about DWAC stock today. The stock actually got some news that's a little surprising, slightly alarming, and you can see we're down about 10% on the day. Let's take a look at the chart. Now, this news actually came out late Friday, and it's not the worst news, but it's also not the best. So we're going to break that down in just a second. But first, let's look at DWAC and see what it's been doing over the past 24 to 48 hours. The last video we made, we were actually up above $70, and that was exciting. However, we then, pretty much as soon as I released the video, got dropped down on this massive red bar. We saw over 540,000 shares being traded that minute. Dropped us down to the lows of day. We hit 66 bucks before rebounding a little bit, and since then we have actually been trending down slightly. Right now we're hovering around 61. Hopefully, we're going to be able to use that as some form of support and start moving back up. But you never know, right? We are down about 10% on the day, as is true for a lot of other Trump pump stocks. So let's get to this story that came out late Friday night, right? It came out at 8 p.m. And basically, the title of the story is that Donald Trump's SPAC deal may have violated securities laws, report says. Now, this isn't written by the New York Times, but the information that they're providing here comes from the New York Times, right? The New York Times is their source for this information. So basically, I'm going to break this article down for you guys and then give you my opinion on it. But what it says is that on Friday, the Times reported that DWAC may have skirted securities regulations since its founder, Patrick Orlando, right? That's the founder of DWAC, the SPAC, had been in discussions with Trump over the SPAC merger for months in advance of DWAC's public market debut in September. So let me break that down a little bit. That's basically is just saying that before DWAC started publicly trading in September, supposedly the founder, Patrick Orlando, and Trump had been discussing the potential for a merger between Trump Media Corporation and DWAC, right? And it cited people with knowledge of the talks between the two men, right? This is their evidence, right? The fact that it cited people with knowledge of talks between the two men. Now, this isn't the most concrete evidence, right? The fact that there's not necessarily a recording, at least not that they disclosed, that it is just people saying this. It's not necessarily the most concrete. Maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. We'll just have to take people at their word if we're going to believe this evidence. But that's what it cited in the article. So that's the evidence that they have for this. And potentially, there are multiple people that were coming forth with the story. So we really don't know about that, but we're going to see. So basically, and these people said that they had been discussing a SPAC merger as early as last March. So that's quite a ways before this September when DWAC actually started publicly trading. Now, by law, SPACs aren't supposed to have, and this is just in case you were wondering, well, why is that a problem? The fact that they were talking about the potential for a merger, why is that a problem? Well, by law, SPACs aren't supposed to have such a merger planned at the time of their IPO and are instead meant to merge with a private company only after they've begun trading on a stock exchange. So that's mostly because oftentimes when companies actually end up going public, they have to disclose a lot of information and they're subject to a lot of scrutiny, right? As this article discussed. And if a SPAC is going to IPO, they typically don't undergo that much scrutiny and undergo as much public disclosure as a normal IPO would. However, if they're already planning on merging with a company, then it almost defeats the purpose of a SPAC SPAC becoming an IPO because the reason that the disclosure is deemed unnecessary is because SPACs do not have any important information, right? They're basically functioning as empty shell companies, and if they've already planned to merge with a company, then you may as well give the information for the company you plan to merge with, right? So that's why it's the law that SPACs aren't supposed to have a merger planned at the time of their IPO. And what lawyers have said is, right, lawyers and securities industry officials told the Times that the discussions between Trump and Orlando could draw inquiries from the Securities and Exchange Commission. So it's not confirmed that they're actually going to do this, that the SEC is going to investigate DWAC and Trump Media Corporation. It's not confirmed as of yet, right? We'll have to see with it. But obviously, it's not a good piece of news for this company. We're not happy to see it if you're a DWAC holder. It could only be bad for this stock, I think, in my opinion, if the SEC starts looking into it. So not the best, in my opinion, but also not the worst, right? The fact that it is, that the evidence seems to only be citing people with knowledge of talks between the two men, right? So basically someone's word. That's probably the best thing this story has going for it, right? Just that it's not too clear-cut what actually went on, that we don't necessarily have, recordings of the conversations. It's not 100% confirmed. At least that's my understanding of it after reading this. So not the worst news, but also not the best. That's what we had on Friday night. That's what happened. But you can see regarding the analytics, looking at DWAC stock and its popularity, it has been fading a little bit, right? We're down to spot number 13 on Reddit and Wall Street Bets. Digital World Acquisition Corp is only has 86 mentions and 238 upvotes, so not the most considering that we were once at number 1 on this leaderboard, right? Tracking stocks on Reddit over the past 24 hours. So it's not ideal that DWAC is starting to fall in popularity on Reddit. Obviously, people just aren't posting that much about it ever since the initial couple of days of the pump. There haven't been too many catalysts. Trump hasn't really talked about it. We would really like to see that happen. I think that could increase a lot of interest in the stock and add to some of the momentum and maybe get us moving in the right direction. If you look at Google Trends, you also see a similar thing to what we were seeing on Reddit, right? We had a lot of interest earlier on. Basically, the farther back you go, the more interest you had in the stock, and it just slowly wanes over time until we get to where we are now, where it's not low interest. If you actually compare it to a lot of other stocks, this would be ranking fairly high. However, for how it was doing earlier on last week, it was doing incredibly well search interest wise, and now it's starting to wane a little bit, right? Just as people have been buying into it slowly but surely. However, there was a ton of hype around it the initial 2 days of the pump, the initial 3 or 4 really, and since then we have actually been trending down a bit. But more recently, we started to find a little bit of support at 55. And hopefully today at 61, we'll find some support and won't fall too much more, but we'll have to see. We still have a couple of minutes left during the trading day. But another site that I like to look at is StockTwits, and you can see that we are also fortunately, still trending on the most active, still number 9 for the most active stock on StockTwits. So DWAC is number 9. It was at one point, though, number 1. So obviously, on all of these sites, we are actually trending down just a little bit. So there is fewer people searching for DWAC than there were in the past. However, that doesn't mean that this stock is dead or that people aren't interested in getting in on it. It may just be that people have done their research on the stock, are either interested or not interested, and that some people, and this is my personal belief, are waiting for a dip to buy into this stock, right? I've seen a lot in the comment section. A lot of people are waiting for a dip, it seems. They realized that, the price got really inflated and was quite high the day after it made this announcement. So, a lot of people saw these prices for the first time, right? They started looking at this stock around here, and the price was over $100. So a lot of people may have been turned off by that and not wanted to just jump in and FOMO in. And that was actually a good choice for a lot of people, right? Because we have actually moved down a bit. It's going to give people the chance to get in on this stock a bit cheaper. So it was actually a pretty good move on their part, not buying into the hype these first couple of days. And we'll have to see how low it can go. Potentially, we could get down to 50 again. And a lot of people have been saying in the comments that 50 is where they want to buy in. They think that's a fair price for it. So we'll see what happens when we get to 50. It could be that we get a big surge of buying power, right? Maybe a lot of people have placed buy orders at 50. We'll have to see what happens with it. I am still holding my shares of DWAC. I still got 150 shares. So I am hoping that this thing will go up. And I bought those at $24. So I have a ways to go. Even if we start trending down for a while, we have a lot to drop before I'll be down on money. Hopefully you guys are in a similar situation. Hopefully you guys got in on it early on the first day of the pump. So other than that, guys, that's mostly what I wanted to talk about with DWAC. Hopefully we're all hoping that this thing will move up, that Trump will talk about it, and that will get a big burst in stock price. But we'll have to see what happens. Obviously, it's risky. This isn't financial advice by any means. I'm not trying to convince anyone to do anything. I'm just giving you guys my opinion in this video. So if you've enjoyed, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, join us in the morning live streams we do every day starting at 9, going to 12. And other than that, guys, have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.